This is True News, uncensored news, views, and commentary for June 16th, 2016. Sitting in for Pastor Rick Wiles, I'm Doc Burkhart, here with our co-host to True News, Edward Zoll. Edward, what are we starting off with this afternoon?
The emergency transmissions for the Orlando Fire, Rescue, and Police have mysteriously gone missing online.
Okay, now how do you know this?
So there is a service called Broadcastify.
Okay, what is that?
It's the world's largest source of public safety, aircraft, rail, and marine radio live audio streams.
So basically you can go on Broadcastify and broadcastify.com, I assume, right?
Yes, broadcastify.com.
Broadcastify.com. Even in your local area, you can go on there and you can listen to the local fire and police scanner and everything. This is a nationwide thing. A lot of people listen to it as a hobby. A lot of people like to know what's going on in their area. So what happened this past Sunday morning in Orlando, Florida on Broadcastify?
So doing the follow-up work on this this report, wanted to get hands on the audio. Usually what you'll do is you'll file a Freedom of Information Request Act with the local county. Well, this service, Broadcastify, is well known to store and archive the emergency transmissions for journalists and the public to listen to and kind of get another perspective on facts of the ground. What were the police saying? What were the nurses and the firefighters saying?
Right. So they're responding to
Yes.
911 calls and to active situations and everything. And you can listen to it online. Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, you can listen to it right now if you wanted to.
Between the hours of 12 a.m. and 3 a.m. on June 12th, 2016.
This is right when the event was happening in Orlando, Florida.
Yes, they're saying the event, based off the official story, the event began at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
Around 2 o'clock. There's no official report yet for us to quote the FBI or the police, but based on media reports, around 2 o'clock. So between the hours of 12 and 3, the audio streams on a website that has complete streams going back to 2015 in their archives for this specific county, this specific organization. The audio streams between 12 and 3 are missing.
Okay. Now, just so people understand what we're talking about here, they archive their content on a regular basis.
Yes.
So if you were to go on to broadcastify.com right now, go and check your local police and fire scanner for your local area, you'd be able to tune in both to a live stream or you can go and listen to an archived show. They usually go back, I don't know, do they do a day or two or what do they do?
It's most of them are going back to 2015. When I say
Oh,
most,
so they keep like a year's worth of content. So I could go back a year ago and listen to, a scanner call like back in October, something like that in my local area.
The Orlando one specifically goes back to 2015.
All right. So Orlando has all these archives going back for a year, but they're missing the 12 a.m. to 3 a.m., the time during the active shooter situation up in Orlando going on. Okay.
And so to follow up on this, we reached out to Lindsay C. Blanton. He's the CEO of RadioReference.com and Broadcastify. Radio Reference is the parent company of Broadcastify.
Okay.
In response to questions about why the audio files were missing, Mr. Blanton said, yes, we had a database server outage that prevented most, if not all, of our feeds from being archived for a few hours that last night. I'm attempting to see if we can recover those archives for this specific incident. We did not remove the archives, and we have never removed archives unless there was a case of a feed broadcaster who inadvertently broadcasted content from their computer that was unintended. This was simply a case of a database server outage for a few hours last night that was purely coincidental with regards to the incident. I am working to see if we can recover the archives during the time frame for the feeds that might have coverage of the incident.
Now, he made that statement back when, on Monday?
He made that statement on Sunday at 12:16 p.m.
Oh, so that very day of the incident. So people obviously at that point had already started checking in and seeing if they could listen to the audio.
Yes.
And he's saying it was down. Well, so Orlando was down. Okay. Thank goodness. I mean, you don't just have the Orlando fire and rescue place. You can, So we could go listen to Orange County then, right? The sheriff's office,
Or
then, right?
Seminole County, they're
Okay.
a sister county.
So
Yeah.
when you went to check on the Orange County, the sheriff's office, you found the audio there, right?
Oh, the darndest thing, Doc. Between 12 and 3, the audio was missing.
So let me get this straight, Edward. The audio of all the activity going on in fire and rescue in Orlando, Florida, the police department is missing. For the county that Orlando is in, Orange County, the sheriff's office, the audio is missing from Broadcastify. So, they were pulling in resources from all over Central Florida.
We're a small state in a lot of regards. You'd be pulling in for hours away.
So let's talk about some of the surrounding counties around Orange County, around Orlando. You've got Osceola, you got Polk, you got Lake, you got Seminole, you got Brevard. So you got that whole area there. Thank goodness, obviously you checked those as well, and you found the audio there, right?
Between the hours of 12 a.m. and 3 a.m., the audio is missing.
Now, Edward, some people would call this a conspiracy at this point. Do you dare call it that?
Well, what I do know, and we can call this does sound like someone conspired to remove audio from an archiving service, not just in the county where the incident occurred, but in the state. That sounds like conspiracy to me. Now,
did you check across the state and see if there were any, other services? Maybe they were talking about maybe over in Tampa or down in Miami or anything like that, or?
Well, and then just to preface, we didn't just jump to this. We did our background research on Broadcastify, and they actually host everything. They have a system where the feeds are fed to them. They host that on a server. That goes through a Cloudflare, a CBN. They do all this through Amazon. So we did our due diligence. We checked out the server they have it hosted at, checked for outages through Amazon. Amazon, folks, this is where most of the country's websites are hosted. This is a very large outlet, very reliable. Well, Amazon keeps a 24/7 database of any outages that would occur.
All right, so they back up their audio recordings and everything to their servers with Amazon, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what you're saying. Broadcastify is saying they were having server issues during that period of time. So you checked Amazon to see, and of course you showed outages, right?
No outages, all green.
All right, so now something doesn't sound right here. Was there an outage or wasn't there an outage?
Well, according to Mr. Blanton, and we are going to keep a very open mind with this, because who's to say there aren't freak outages? Who's to say that files don't go missing? Who's to say that Supreme Court justices don't just end up dead on a ranch where there's a secret society gathering? Who's to say? But we're going to keep an open mind with this, wherever the truth leads on this. But on this case specifically, we found it incredibly weird that not just for Florida, but for surrounding states, this trend of the archives between 12 a.m. and 3 a.m. on 2016, June 12th, the day of the largest mass shooting in U.S. history.
The biggest news event of the decade so far.
The archives are missing.
Now, we urge our audience to do your own investigative journalism. Go to broadcastify.com, check out your own area, and see if the audio is missing from that period of time in your local area. But better yet, I want you to help us out a little bit. I've got friends that love to listen to police scanners, fire and rescue stuff, and everything. Some of them just play it in the background at their house while they're working on stuff. Okay, I cannot help but think that out of the vast True News audience out there, and we've got hundreds of thousands of people that listen to True News, that there's not one person out there that wasn't recording the police scanner that night while the Orlando massacre was going down. Because here's what we're hearing now. Several TV stations and media organizations in the Orlando area have asked Orlando police, the sheriff's office, we want to hear the 911 calls. We want to hear the backup of the police scanners. The city attorney for the city of Orlando has said, we cannot release those because this is an active investigation. So now I want you to think about that just a minute. If we had heard it live, or we got it off Broadcastify, that would be okay to listen to. but because now we can't get it and we have to go through the city or the county, they're holding back. So is there somebody out there in the True News audience that recorded the police scanner, the fire scanner, the emergency channels of what was happening in the Orlando area? We'd love to hear from you. If you have that audio, email it to us at news@truenews.com.
Burn it onto a CD. Send us a thumb drive. We
Something.
have the means of looking through these things.
Right. We want to hear that audio because the fact of the matter is something has happened to that audio. There's something that is not being heard.
And we'd like to dispel the
Right.
conspiracy. We'd like to dispel any of the discrepancies out here. And we will find information to dispel that through this information.
And so I encourage you right now, let's get to the bottom of this. What's going on out there? There's too many questions with this. And you see, in a situation like this, when you have these kinds of things that pop up, they just add another dimension to what's going on. I mean, so what is the real story going on with Mateen? What's the real story going on with his dad? Now his wife is missing. I mean, and now these 911 calls, which are normally totally available, totally free to the public to listen to, poof, gone. So what's going on? If you can help us, please help us. If you've got audio, you can email it to us at news@truenews.com. If you've got a hard copy of it, either on CD or on a thumb drive, you can mail that to us at True News, P.O. Box 690069, Vero Beach, Florida, 32969. We'd love to have it. We'd love to be able to, clear up anything that might be heard on there that would straighten this whole situation out. But something is going on, Edward, and it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right at all. Oh, Edward, what is happening? Don't you hunger for the days where you could actually trust the media and trust the government? But has there ever been that case here of recent history?
Well, Doc, the thing I've learned more than ever working here is the only person you can trust is Jesus Christ, our Savior.
That's right. He's the only one who never fails. Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father but by me."